Govinda Deshikam Upasya Siraya Bhaktyam Tasmin Sthite Nijamahimni Videha Muktyam Advaitya Bhashyam Upakalpa Diso Vijityam Kanchi Pure Sitam Avapasa Shankaraya Ritismriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavadpata Shankaram Lokashankaram Apara Karuna Sindhum Jnanatam Shantarupinam Sri Chandrasekhara Gurum Pranamami Mudanmuham Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmat Acharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Seeking the benediction of Adi Shankaracharya and to his lineage up to the 70th Guru of the venerated Kamakoti Peetam, Pujya Sri Shankara Vijayendra Saraswati Swamigal, with whose benign blessings this function is being held today, I rise to address you today. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to this pleasant and solemn function organized this morning for the inauguration of the Param Vir Chakra Garden in the campus of Sri Kanchi Mahaswami Vidya Mandir and the dedication of the exhibition Aikyam based on the philosophy, thoughts and precepts of the Mahaswami of Kanchi. On a joyous occasion like this, it is but natural that one goes down the memory lane as to how an ordinary young Kannadiga Brahmin boy from the Oisala community from the obscure village of Viluppuram in Tamil Nadu graduated to become one of the tallest saints of the 20th century. During his century-long sojourn in this universe, he walked the length and breadth of this country, spreading goodwill and compassion all around. Like the lighthouse that beats no drum and sounds no gong, and yet to the mariner and the distant sea, but to experience its friendly light, so too was the sage of Kanchi. He was a spiritual colossal. He was the voice of eternal India. This master of masters was like a lambent light who rekindled the spirit of the nation and brought about a renaissance in many fields of religion, thought and process. He taught mankind groping in the dark, despite all the strides in science and technology, as to how to journey to a higher destiny and attain Atma Swaraj, the freedom of the mind. He shed his mortal coil on the 8th of January 1994. 3 decades have rolled by. We still hear the divinity of his voice and the infinitude of his presence. The sage of Kanchi lives in the hearts and minds of his devotees. We come across myriads of people in our life journey. Several of them flash through our eyes and vanish into the thin. There are still some who linger around the eye frame for some time and then perish into the oblivion. There are some whom we contemptuously throw out, both out of sight and memory, for the sins that they have committed, the way that they have lived, or the way that they are living. There are very few who travel down the iris of the eyes, go to the heart and minds of us, and secure a permanent place for themselves. It is the like of them whom we remember at all times. For their indomitable courage, extraordinary bravery in the face of extreme adverse conditions and hostilities, and in most cases, supreme sacrifice of their lives for the cause of the nation, the Param Vir Chakras have endeared themselves to the people of our land and have secured permanent remembrance for themselves for the highest act of valor and sacrifice that they have done for this country. It may appear symbolic on the face of it to have a function like this, but then, if these supreme sacrifices of these men, not just the Param Vir Chakras, but also men in uniform, whatever colors they don for the nation, and more particularly their families whose sacrifices are still far greater, do not erase from our memories and remain in the collective public conscious of this nation that we have functions like this. These functions are but a small step forward in that direction. These are the real heroes of the nation, not those real heroes who dominate the silver screen, who momentarily in our signs of weakness get our attention and capture our hearts. These men do not wear their achievements on their jerseys. The 2 stars and the stripes on their shoulders are far more luminous than 1,000 in the Milky Way. They fear no death. Death to them is as light as a feather, but duty and responsibility as heavy as a mountain. They leave their homes so that you and I are safe and secure in our homes. They fight ferociously, not because they hate the enemy in front of them, because they love most the motherland and the people of the land whom they have left behind and come to the borders to save them. They fight to finish, because there is no knockout in wars. It's end or victor. Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw, in one of his celebrated addresses, once said, if a person were to say that he does not lie, either he is a liar or he is a Gorkha. With no fear of contradiction, today I amend the statement of the Field Marshal to say, why only a Gorkha? Any man in uniform, be it in the waters, be it in the sky, or in the lands, in the mountains, they fear no death. And when they leave their families, their kith and kin, the near and the dear ones, they come across the duty of the nation, there is only one companion for them. The sole companion is the Tiranga, or the national flag. They live and breathe for the national flag. Their life is dedicated for the glory of the flag. When he comes back victorious from the battlefield, he carries atop the national flag, flying high to the joy and merriment of his countrymen. And if he were to be injured to some degrees, resulting in infirmities that defy normal living for him, then he wants to hasten the process of rehabilitation, acquire new avocations and skills, and offer those as samarpanam to the blessed land of ours. Years of dedication, devotion, determination ooze from the face of all these men. God forbid, if he were to lay down his life for the cause of the nation in the battlefield, he is draped in the tricolor, put in the coffin and brought back to the homeland. And as the coffin is being lowered to the 21-gun salute of the countrymen, and before he comes to the resting place, that's a time when the flag is removed from him. Both in life and death, the flag is inseparable for the men in uniform. Janda Ucha Rahe Amara, Vijayi Vishwa Tiranga Pyara. This flag of ours soars high up in the skies, partially due to the wind that drifts it higher, but greatly due to the breath and the sacrifice of the men in uniform. And just reminded of what Raj Kapoor sang in Mera Naam Joker. Kal khel mein hum ho na ho, gardish mein tare rahenge sada, bulenge to bulenge hum, par tum hamare rahenge sada. You will always remain in the hearts and minds of the people of this nation whom you safeguard and secure. Bursts and statues are required for people who are ever in fear of abortion of their decrepit celebrity status. They never perish who live in the hearts and minds of people. Even as they move away from the physical plane, they become deathless mortals. They graduate to a position where they become the war from the hoof, the thoughts and the aspirations of the succeeding generations. They carve for themselves a niche in the rocky temple of reverential gratitude. They leave indelible imprints on the sands of time and stamp infinity on the thought process of the nation and add to the reservoir of goodness of the blessed land of ours. To this galaxy of great men of this land belong all the men in uniform. It is in honor of them, it is in remember of them who have moved away from us that we have symbolic functions like this. There is yet another reason beyond the symbolism as to why we wanted to have a Param Vir Chakra Garden in our school campus. Probably beyond the war memorials, this is the only institution ever in the country where there is a memorial for the Param Vir Chakras. When the young tiny tots are handed over to our care for the process of man-making, character formation and assimilation of ideas and thoughts through a structured curriculum that is being given unto them, we have reasons to believe that before the children get into their classrooms, there will be time for them to come before the garden, bow their head in reverence, and over the long student years, it will sink into them sooner or later the glory and the greatness of the men for whom they bow every day, and a little of that shadow will fall onto them. And when these children pass out from the school and go into higher learning, They may go into anything of applications in implication science, which is science, engineering, mathematics, medicine, or technology, or even far beyond that, even management. Today's wars are no longer fought as combat wars in the terrestrial lands or high in the skies. These are highly technological warfares, and each one of us, as you graduate from whichever discipline you come out, will have every reason to have an application of that science and technology for the defense preparedness of the nation. Each one of us, we need not wear the uniform, can contribute to the process of learning and the experience that we gain from whatever we have learned to add to the armory of strength of the defense forces of our land. And that is the eternal prayer that we had, and the hope that this Param Vir Chakra Gardens will inspire all of you. This morning we also dedicated the exhibition Aikyam. Aikyam means unity, which is based on the thoughts and precepts of the Mahaswami of Kanchi. Over his 87 years long lifespan as the Pidhathipati of this mutt during that pontificate, in various discourses, he always used to emphasize on the oneness of creation. He always said, what we require is unity of religions and not uniformity of religions. Every religion is an outcome of the experience of the founder of that religion, which gets ingrained into that religion. But in matters relating to truth, in relating to service, in relating to love, absence of hatred, all religions and devotion to God, all religions preach the same. There are several paths that we may take to reach the ultimate destination of divinity. These may be parallel to each other. Sometimes they may be even in conflict with each other when vociferous tendencies and divisive elements rock the moral fabric of the society and raise their ugly head. The moment we realize that we are all the children of the same creation, all beings are part of that same creation, then peace will descend onto us, equilibrium will dawn onto the society, calm and harmony will be restored. The sage of Kanchi built his thoughts on oneness of creation essentially from the ancient scriptures of our land, the Vedas, the Upanishads, the Itihasas and the Puranas. The word Hinduism or Hindu is never defined in any one of the scriptures of this land. The word Hindu means love, or conversely, absence of hatred. And he built his thoughts on the basis of 7 pillars, which he said are the foundation for harmony and coexistence, that this great religion of ours, this way of life of ours, that has given unto the world. And he started with truth. Ekam sat vipra bahuda vadanti, says the Upanishad. The truth is the same. Sages may say it differently. People may say it differently. Different people of different religions, class, clan, even geography may say it differently. That does not become a lie. Or if a lie which is packaged and conditioned as truth, it can never become truth. Satyameva Jayate is the Upanishad, and that is the emblem that the Constitution of India has given unto this nation for the governments of the day. Guru Nanak Maharaj always used to emphasize, like the sage of Kanchi, more intensely on truth. Sach urai, usse upar sach achar. Truth is high, but still higher is truthful living. So in matters of truth, there can never be difference between religions, he said. Second, he said, there is divinity residing in each one of us. In our conventional Hinduism, we call it as Narayana Hridayam, the heart where the Lord is ensconced. Adi Shankara in Bhajagovindam says, Tvaimai Chanyatra Eko Vishnuhu. Search inwards, up, left, and center, you will find the same Vishnu. Call him by any name. Give him akara, rupa, idolize him, or let him be formless like in Islam. He is the same. And when he is the same, if you start hating somebody else, you are hating that divinity, which is the goal of your life that you want to reach. So the purpose of the life would not be achieved if you were to hate the humankind who are also part of you. The same thought the sage used to echo from the Isa Upanishad. He used to say, Yastis sarvani bhutani atmanneva anupashati sarvabhuteshu cha atmanam tatto na vikupaste. He who sees himself in others and sees others in himself does not hate anyone any longer. That is the highest state of consciousness that a person can reach in his life. And in that life of his, the word hatred, despise, or do not become part of his lexicon. The Rig Veda says, Ano Badraha Kartavo Yantu Vishwataha. Let noble thoughts come to us from all directions. So when they come, you don't look at from who is giving it, or from which distance it is coming, from which land it is giving. As long as the thought is noble, it is worthy of being assimilated, absorbed by this breath and the body of ours. And the sage once jokingly said, he said, we should all be not like doors, but like windows. Doors which arrest further flow of the wind so that it does not reach beyond you who is standing ahead of it. We should all be like windows. In windows, the wind will draft and come to you. You will absorb all those things and then leave for the rest of humanity to absorb. The 20th century saw globalization. And when globalization came, the 20th century saw globalization, the entire world became one tiny village. But the very same thought was given by the Vedas much before. I am Najahapparo Vedi, Gananam Laguchedasam, Udara Charitanam tu Vasudaiva Kutumpakam. The entire world is one family. There are several other thoughts that he built, and ultimately he came to the thought, he said, Maitrim Bhajata, foster, cultivate friendship amongst people. He dwelt on that subject on the basis of the Brihadaranya Upanishad of Dhamya, Datta, Dayatvam. And then he said, Shreyo Bhuyat Sakala Jananam. Let the people of the world be prosperous and happy. This was set to music in My Karma Bhumi by Sri Vasant Desai, sung by Dr. M.S. Subbulakshmi on the 23rd of October 1966 in the United Nations. And the clarion call for universal harmony from the sage of Kanchi went across to the world. It is our belief that a visit to Aikyam may instill this thought that the great sage had given it to each one of us, so that peace will dawn unto us. Our man-hours will be used only for the goodness of humanity and other beings on the earth. We are beholden to Sri R. and Ravi, the Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu, for his gracious presence this morning to inaugurate the PVC Gardens and also dedicate the exhibition Aikyam. This is not the first time the Honorable Governor is coming to us. He came to us on the 3rd of June 2022 and inaugurated the exhibition on 2,500 years of the Kamakoti Peetham and his service to the nation. Those words of wisdom that flew out of him that day, the tenets and the essential elements of Sanatana Dharma that he gave, still rings and resonates in all of us. Lieutenant General Param Vir Chakra Garden, General Officer Commanding Dakshin Bharat area, and all the men in uniform who have come along with him, who have added to the lust and shine of this morning's function. And to the two stars who are present over here today, the live inspiration of the Param Vir Chakras, there is an electrifying impact on these children of ours. One day, these children also believe that they should reach a level no less than all of you have reached. As I come to the end of my address this morning, may the Jagannatha Kamakoti Kamakshi shed her grace on all those who adorn the dais today. May she give them a long life, a life of purpose, a life of health, and may they achieve greater glory, both in their professional and personal life. May the good Goddess bless us too, so that we can draw a leaf from the life of nobility of all these men, incorporate into our lives through passage of time, in our eternal quest in this pilgrimage of perfection, a little of the selflessness, sacrifice, seva, and above all, Matru Bhakti, and make our lives sublime. Thank you and God bless.